Hey there, everybody. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of our RANT series. We've got the Hudson Valley Metal Militia here all together. First time ever that this group of four have been in one video at the same time. So let's go. I guess across the top we got Steve Keeler over this way somewhere from Rock Fantasy. We got down below, we got Chris Allo and Nick Franco. Welcome to the show, guys. I think this is going to be a lot of fun, and hopefully we do more of these. So what I've tasked everybody today is we're going to kind of revisit a rant that I did like a year or two ago, which was very, very popular, and that's crappy albums by bands you hate, or albums you hate by bands you love, stinker albums by bands you love, however you want to call it. So I've asked everybody to go into their collections, pull out 3 albums that they really don't like at all from bands they absolutely adore. All right, so we're gonna go let's go around Steve and then Chris, then Nick, then myself. We'll go around that way.
I get to go first.
You get to go first. Well, you've been on the show the most times, I think, so you'll get to go first.
Well, recently I was brought in. I'm starting out with the shittiest, I think.
Oh yeah, good. Are we going reverse? I thought we were going reverse order.
It doesn't matter. Whatever. Whatever order. No real order.
Well, if anyone can guess the background behind me now, they will know that this
now I know what it is. Now I know what it is.
This is the Scorpions in 1999. I had no idea what they thought they were doing, and there's actually videos from this album that are hilarious. I just watched it today, and I realized that it is a bad album. I didn't really want to throw any bad dirt on any of the bands that I'm so passionate about, but the Scorpions with 1999's Eye to Eye. It was dentist chair music. Ray Conniff and the Singers is heavier.
Wow.
I mean, first of all, that they look like the German Three Stooges there. I mean, it's like, what were they thinking?
Or monkeys even, or something. I don't know what's going on, but Eye to Eye is my first stinker of the bunch.
There you go. All right, Chris, you're up.
All right. This one has a bit of a story to it. I thought I hit the heavy metal jackpot with this record. I was a big fan. I still am huge fan of this band. And I was interviewing bands all the time. And I got contacted by the publicist that said, hey, this band is putting out a new album in the fall, and they're opening their tour in Texas. You want to interview them? And I said, sure. They said, okay, we're going to fly you out to Texas, put you in a hotel room, all expenses paid. You're going to interview the band. You're going to hang out with the band, backstage passes, photo passes, the whole thing. Wow, this sounds amazing. I go to Texas. I hear the record, and I absolutely hated it. The first song I loved, and I was like, this is going to be great. And then the rest of the album just killed it for me. And it is Iron Maiden, The Final Frontier. I had a feeling maybe Nick would like this one.
I actually like that album. I hated it.
Chris, honestly, it's the album of theirs that I have the least relationship with.
The least?
I mean, when I looked, I listened to it again last night. I listened to all the records to make sure I still hated them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I still hate them all. Maybe just not as much because I'm getting older. But even now, I'm like, Isle of Avalon, The Talisman, The Alchemist. What is this? I never heard it before, even though I think I've heard it. I know I heard it. True story. When we did the listening party, they played the record. Rod Smallwood was there, and we were the first people in the country, in the world actually, to hear the record besides the band. And I was stunned. I was shell shocked because I hated it.
Wow.
And everybody just looked around, and the publicist was like, let's play it again. And I'm like, oh my God. So it was like for 3 hours I had to listen to this horrible album. All the songs are boring and unforgettable, forgettable rather, other than the first one. And I still,
Chris,
other than the first track, Final Frontier I really like.
Yeah, it is the Iron Maiden album that I have the least personal relationship with out of all.
Okay, that's good. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah.
You know what I'm really stunned at? Not the fact that you picked an Iron Maiden album, but the fact that the record label flew you out there, put you up in a whole. What record label does that?
Well, you know, this used to happen more often because I've done press trips like that, but it was always like smaller bands like Obituary and Cannibal Corpse and Cradle of Filth. But EMI was doing, it was their last record with Maiden, so they wanted a big push.
Yeah.
So I was like, sure. And I mean, the band was
Iron
cool.
Maiden.
Everybody was cool, but I hated the record, even the album cover. I had to ask Steve Harris. I'm like, is that Eddie on the album cover? Because it looks like a Predator and Pumpkinhead had a baby.
Predator Eddie, yeah, it is Pumpkinhead Eddie.
And he's like, yeah, no, that's Eddie. Like I don't know what Eddie looks like. I was like, oh, okay.
I just sold a copy of that Final Frontier mask that Trick or Treat made. I can't believe I sold one.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's a terrible design, terrible artwork. Just I hate the record. Yeah. I still saw him 3 times on that tour.
They laid some eggs with the artwork in the 2000s.
Yeah. No, that's true. Because Dance to Death is another one with lousy artwork.
Oh, yeah. But they're still the Kings, but.
Yeah, no, true. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, Nick, what do you got?
So for my first one, I went with a little bit of a darker edged band. I grew up loving Samael from Switzerland. They started out with the real black metal, and then they became more industrial. And I was okay with that shift. I loved Passage. I thought that's a masterpiece, their album from '96. Then and their next one, Eternal, okay, you know, still had some very memorable tunes. And then about 5 years went by, and they came out with something called Reign of Light. And, Reign of Poop. You know, like, I was okay with their shift, like I said, but it's just, I mean, there were some absolutely cringeworthy songs in it. He, like, sort of raps on As the Sun. The song, it just didn't go well. It's like KMFDM techno with black metal vocals, but not in a convincing way. The songs were way too poppy. They have since corrected that, and even though they're still electronic, they're a little bit better now, but that was just a stinker. I was like, I can't believe this is the same band that wrote Passage, but you know, and it was pretty a panned album all around. I don't think a lot of people like that album. Way too poppy, way too techno, none of the darkness, none of the grace that they had. So that's their stinker of their career.
And they eventually found the error of their ways and kind of made their way back.
Yes.
Oh yeah. They absolutely have. They've gotten more challenging, more heavy. Again, I think they just took. That was a weird time, right? The beginning of 2000 and 2005. Like there's a lot of weird directions bands were taking, and I think they just took that techno thing too far.
Like the Scorpions in '99.
It was a weird time. A lot of bands, it was a weird time then. So that's my first choice.
All right, so we were talking before we started taping about how Chris especially was talking about how he's always had these albums that he hated back in the day and wanted to make sure that he still hates them right to this day. So I instantly 5 came to mind for me, and I went and re-listened to them all yesterday and today just to make sure I still really dislike them. And 2 of them I actually were like, you know what, maybe not quite as bad as I remember them, but 3 of them kind of stayed right with me. So and my 3 are actually more kind of going from the prog side of things, because a lot of the metal stuff that I was thinking I actually don't dislike as much as I thought I did. But 1984's Under Wraps by Jethro Tull, terrible album. It's just
never even heard it. I've never.
You don't need to hear it. No, you don't need to hear it. It's basically this was supposed to be an Ian Anderson solo album, and he wanted to do like a kind of like a synth pop album. And the record label was like, but you know what? We really can't market an Ian Anderson solo album. So why don't you put it as a Jethro Tull album? So there's like almost no guitar on here. There's like no flute on here. It's just all these really cheesy synths. And there's 15 songs.
Wow.
From like 1984. What band released?
That's a lot.
That's a lot. They're all like 2.5, 3 minutes long. For the most
punk
part.
bands did that.
Exactly, right?
You really listened to that whole album last night? You wasted 15
I listened to it this morning. I was like, the whole thing. And I was like,
you were doing something else.
I wasn't just sitting and listening to that. I was working and doing some stuff. But, it starts off good. It's got the song Lap of Luxury, which is really good, actually. And the rest of it is just like not good. It's just cheesy, and I think they realized the error of their ways, because the next album they put out was actually very, very good. So that's my first choice. Under Wraps by Jethro Tull. Steve, back to you.
So it's my turn to go with the next one, and I'm going way off the metal.
Oh, I almost picked that one. I almost picked it.
The Miami Vice.
And this is not Miami Vice. This is the mighty Emerson, Lake, and Palmer.
Okay.
All right. So Emerson, Lake, and Palmer has their giant record, Brain Salad Surgery. Then they do the 2 Works albums, and then they come out with this. This was like, I don't know.
Emerson, Lake, and Chest Hair.
What's the name of the album?
Emerson, Lake, and Chest Hair.
ELPGs.
Pete knows more about than I do, because I had the record of course I bought it when it came out, thinking, well, oh my God, this is nothing like Emerson, Lake, and Palmer. It's kind of like they went AOR, right, with this album.
There's like 2 really good songs on it that are like traditional ELP. The rest of it is just this soft rock pop dreck. Yeah, it's not. And you know what? I think we could have forgiven them for this album if they had a different album cover, because that is one of the worst album covers in history.
I thought it was the Beach Boys.
Well, the Bee Gees, right? It looks like a Bee Gees album cover. Yeah,
it's Love Beach. Look there's Peter Cetera.
Wow.
So you follow up the Works. I mean, it's almost like a follow up to Brain Salad Surgery. What the hell? And this was the end for them. 2 of them flew out of the studio and left. It was a mess. And Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, one of my favorite bands. So you said to pick bands I love and pick 3 stinkers. So I've done that so far.
Yep. There you go.
I didn't even think of Iron Maiden having stinkers, but I probably would have went with Blaze Bayley if I had to do an Iron Maiden album.
Ditto. Yep. That's a good choice, Steve. Like I said, I almost went with that.
Chris is mesmerized by that album cover. I'm going to leave it up.
That is unbelievable. I swear I thought it was the Beach Boys.
Well, Emerson, Lake, and Palmer, we're looking for that beachy reggae type atmosphere. Right. So they flew them to the Bahamas.
You never know till you try it.
My number 1 you're going to like too, I think.
Okay. All right, who's up?
You're up, Chris. Yep, you're up.
Right. I know a lot of people love this band. I love this band. This is my I should take that back. This is my all-time favorite band. This is the band that got me into metal. This is the band that absolutely changed my life, changed my personality, got me girls, got me friends, everything. But this album sucks. I don't care what anybody says. It's the worst album they ever did. And the band themselves hate the record. Shout out to my buddy Tad Leger, because he loves this record, but I hate it. I bought it on album, cassette, and I have purchased it 3 times on CD.
No,
and it's Black Sabbath, Never Say Die. Hate this album.
Whoa.
He's got them all 3.
I'm not sure. I love that record.
See? I'm not sure if Sabbath wanted to do a jazz record or a pop record, but they just mashed it together. I know they were all fucked up on drugs and drinking at the time. They were a mess. The record was up there.
The album I've got behind me.
I mean, I love the album cover, but I hate this album. I mean, last night I'm like, Air Dance, Shockwave.
I love Air Dance.
What? And listen, I consider myself a bigger Sabbath fan than most. I mean, for this assignment, Pete, I took notes in my Black Sabbath notebook. So, listen, but this album is crap. And Sabbath
Chris, you don't need to apologize to me, because Chris and I did a Black Sabbath show like a year and a half ago, and we both like totally roasted that album, and we got like besieged with people from all over creation who love that album.
Some people love that record.
I don't like it either.
Chris, what are some of the titles on that record? Let's go over them with me. I can tell you how much I like it.
Never Say Die, which I hate.
Of course. Great.
Johnny Blade.
Johnny Blade's awesome.
I don't like that one. I like this track with the heavy bass. Junior's Eyes.
Junior's Eyes is great.
I like that one. A Hard Road. Oh my God, what a stinker. Shockwave? I don't know. I heard it. I listened to this album 3 times yesterday. I couldn't tell you how Shockwave goes. Air Dance?
Air Dance is good.
Over to You, Breakout. Is that the one that has like a saxophone?
Breakout.
And Swinging the Chain.
All right.
Like I said, three CD versions, and I couldn't tell you.
Who wants them? They're up for auction now, right there.
Oh yeah, I mean, listen, that's the curse of being a collector. You guys all know, because I could save some room. I could just throw these right in the garbage. But as a collector, I can't.
They're coasters.
Yeah, but I'll never listen to them.
You totally stunned me with that choice.
Really? Oh, I can't stand that record. Thank God they got rid of
I
Ozzy.
can't disclose. I can't. I have to wait till my next turn to discuss it thoroughly.
Okay.
Well, I guess that brings it to me.
Yes.
So I'm sticking a little bit with the darker bands, as is my usual way. But most of you, I think, like Satyricon, right, from Norway.
Okay.
Satyricon is a band that I consider one of the greatest black metal bands ever. But as time went on, they decided, we don't want to make the same stuff. We want to be different. We don't want to be stuck in the same black metal. We want to go off on our own. So I was okay with that. Again, I was okay with their shift from corpse paint and prehistoric weapons to their modern sort of dystopian. Yeah, well, Rebel Extravaganza, I thought that was really good.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then when they got a little bit more black rock, I was still okay with it because they had long, progressive, challenging songs on those albums that had the little poppier songs on it. I was okay with that. But then they started to slip, and then in 2013, they put out their self-titled album on Roadrunner Records, Satyricon. Wow, it was their 8th album, and I'm not a songwriter, I'm not a musician, but the songs would start out okay, and then all of a sudden they would just start like noodling on the guitar. The song would just deflate like a beach ball. Just all the energy would go out of it. You're listening to Frost Up bass, but it's like swing band. It's almost like they were, and then they were just, I think they were trying to build tension in the song. Didn't work. There's 1 or 2 okay songs on it, but I mean, just a really boring. You have one of the best drummers in metal in Frost, and they're just not even trying to be energetic. Just awful. I think they fixed things with their last album, Deep Calleth Upon Deep, which I don't know if you know.
Yeah, I really like that record.
Yeah, that to me they fixed things, but they reached a low with that self-titled album. Just boring. That kind of music should never be.
What was the single off of that album? I'm trying to remember.
It should be full of dark energy.
Black Crow on a Tombstone?
No, that one was the album before. That one was okay. That's
like the one I thought you were talking about.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
That's a precursor. That had some good songs on it. That was a little boring. This one was. They turned the boring meter all the way up in the studio.
Yeah, Mick. I always mix those 2 records together. I can't.
They lost me on those 2. I went off the Satyricon train with those 2 albums. I haven't gone back.
I liked the last one. I listened to it with a lot of skepticism. I think I reviewed it for Cryptic Rock.
Yeah, the last album was good. This last Satyricon.
Yeah, last record was good, and the last show was great when they played in Gramercy.
Yeah, I saw them in Portugal.
Farewell tour.
Yep, I saw them in Portugal last summer.
Oh, nice.
They demolished the place. I mean, it was amazing. But yeah, that album, oh my God, like just stop being so boring. Like throw some, don't just sit there.
See, now I got to listen to that record again. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's like the batteries ran out while they were playing. But I love them still.
Right.
Yeah, hey, they're all allowed to have stickers.
I wanted to add that, Pete. The assignment was a shitty album from a band you love.
That's right.
And I struggled with that because like I
took that early.
Yeah, the first album that popped into my mind was that I record from Morbid Angel. But I was like, all right, I know I'm like, do I love Morbid Angel? Or do I really like Morbid Angel?
Same thought process.
I really like Morbid Angel, but I don't love Morbid Angel.
I love 3 records.
Black
3
Sabbath.
records. That's it. Right.
So that was.
I agree.
Yeah, because like Nick had asked me like about a week ago. He's like, "Oh, I think you brought up In Flames, right? Because I mean, In Flames early on were a great band, and then but." Let's face it, In Flames haven't been relevant or any good in a long time.
Good point.
They turned into Corn Light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to love In Flames, but I checked out years ago. So that's It's a great point because I don't love them anymore. So
I mean, I could have went with Aerosmith too. 'Cause I love Aerosmith, but after what?
Good point.
After like Draw the Line, Night in the Ruts, I don't like anything.
Yeah.
Well, you could have had all the Metallica's the same thing.
Yeah. No, that's true.
Even Queensryche with Tate. I was done after mine.
Oh, I didn't even think about Queensryche.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah. But the problem there is that they have a bunch of stinky albums, right? So it's I think a lot of the ones we're talking about are bands that had like one, glaring.
What's funny about Queensryche is I went and I checked. I listened to like Promised Land, like some of the albums of theirs that I just found awful. But like you said in the beginning, I didn't find myself hating it as much as I did back then. Isn't that funny?
Yeah,
so I didn't pick Queensryche for that reason.
Yeah. All right, I'm gonna go my next shot. The Final Cut by Pink Floyd.
Come on! I love that record.
Pink Floyd.
I love that record.
All right, so this is another one of those albums that I have talked about on this show many times about my dislike for, and those loyal Pink Floyd fans, especially the British fans, just roast me because like, oh, you stupid American, you don't understand. This means so much coming from
that album.
All right, I'm American. I don't get the story behind this. But this album puts me to fucking sleep. I played it again this morning, and I was like, "This is just as bad as I always remembered. It's just this depressing, Roger Waters saturated album. It's not exciting. It's not. I mean,
it's depressing as hell."
What's the first track on that album?
The first track is "The Post-War Dream." And I think the only song I really like is the one that Gilmore sings, which is the Fletcher Memorial Home, or is it Southampton Dock? I don't know, one of those two.
That's not really on my range with Pink Floyd albums, and I love a lot of Pink Floyd. That one is.
I like all of them. I just don't like this.
My least liked one.
That was.
Nick,
that was
you like
Roger's,
this album? You like this album?
I love it. It hits me right in the heart.
What am I missing? I've tried for decades.
It's like their suicidal, depressive black metal album.
I don't get it, man. I just don't get it. I tried.
The fact that it's so depressing.
So it's back to my turn.
All right, back to
back to my turn now. Oh, you can finish because I have to.
I'm done. I'm done bitching about the Final Cut.
I love that we disagree. I love that we have when we disagree on. That's awesome.
And how do we throw "Never Say Die" under the proverbial bus when this album exists?
Well, I will put Forbidden just a hair above Never Say Die. And Forbidden's a terrible record. Terrible record.
Excuse me, internet viewers, but this man here is in a pandemic like all of us. He's been inside way too long right now to think that this is better. Now, when did Black Sabbath ever use this image for any of its reunion tours? I didn't see this album cover come up at all.
That's true. That's a terrible album cover.
That's an awful album cover.
It's a terrible record.
I actually have some bootleg T-shirts from like '99 when they did the reunion tour in the beginning. I
remember that.
And they had that album cover on the front of the shirt. Whoever bootlegged them and were selling them in the parking lot, And look at the back of the album cover, even more amazing. Poor Cozy Powell. How did he get involved in this?
I was going to say, should we even talk about Ice-T on a Black Sabbath record? Or the terrible production from Ernie C. from Body Count? I saw them 3 times on that tour, and every night Tony Martin would loudly proclaim, "We recorded this whole album in 7 days." And all 3 times I would yell out, "Yeah, it sounds like it."
Well, Tony Iommi even wrote about how awful the production was.
Oh, it's terrible.
And he said he had nothing to do with it. And the production was totally given to Ernie C. And no one really overlooked it. That was just an album for them to get out of their contract because they were knowing that they were going back with Ozzy around that time already, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure they thought having Ice-T involved would sell some records, right?
Well,
and I mean,
the story is too, Tony Martin has said he didn't actually know if he was going to be on the record because supposedly Ice-T did all the vocals for the whole album.
Wow.
So there was discussions of maybe going that way. I would love to hear a bootleg of that. I'm sure it's awful, but as a fan, I would still like to hear it.
Poor Ice-T. Ice-T's a talented guy, and I met him once at a Megadeth show. What was the commercial they were running with Ice-T? When they were doing that stupid commercial, and everybody was calling him something else, and I can't even think. It was a commercial.
I changed the channel probably when it came on.
It was a commercial for Geico, and everybody was like, "Yo,
his hair."
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it.
He was at the Megadeth show with Monomarth and Metal Church, and I got to take a picture with Ice-T. But yeah, this is just proof that Never Say Die is not the worst Black Sabbath album by far. Chris,
I would put it, that's me, but I would put Forbidden just a hair over.
Chris, grab a six-pack and drive over. We'll sit in the patio. We're going to listen to Never Say Die. We'll smoke a joint, and you're going to say, "Oh, this album's pretty good." Maybe you got to smoke a little pot with Never Say Die. I don't know.
Is that what it is? All right.
Maybe.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
All right. This one is from 2008. And quick story. Huge fan of the band. Interviewed them many times. In fact, I've interviewed this band more than any other band. And I was told, okay, if you want to interview the band for the new record, which of course I wanted to do, they're like, you got to come into Manhattan, and we will a private listening session.
Oh, I know this. I know what it is.
And I sat there. The publicist came out. He played me disc 1, and I was like, my mind was completely blown. This publicist was so excited. He put on disc 2. 3 hours later, after listening to this whole record, I walked out. He's like, "You want to hear it again?" I'm like, "No, it is awful." I still interviewed them. I still saw Judas Priest 6 times on this tour, but this is the worst album in the history of heavy metal because it's a double album, so it's twice as bad as any other record.
In the history of heavy metal,
Judas Priest, Nostradamus.
That is a pretty bold statement.
Only time I ever listened to it in its entirety was at that listening station. Even last night, I tried to listen to the whole record. It's fucking unlistenable. I mean, there's choirs and synthesizers and.
Don't waste your time, Steve. Don't waste your time.
I just got such a bad rap on it. I was afraid to listen, and I'm a huge Priest fan, so I guess that should be on my list too.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Like, what were they thinking?
But yet there are people out there, Priest fans, who think it's the best thing they ever did.
100%.
Oh, there's people that like it, yeah, for sure.
There's a guy that broke the Guinness Book of World Records by listening to this like 500 times in a row. Something like that. I mean, it's great. Of all the Priest albums, this
was that guy Rob Halford?
Terrible. Unbelievable. It's just boring. It's the most boring, anemic.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
It's terrible. Like I said, I still saw him 6 times. I still love him, but it's a fucking awful record. What were you thinking? And I still say, I wonder how much KK Downing's leaving the band had to do with this record. Because he apparently spearheaded it, wrote a lot. Obviously, it was a failure. I mean, it sold okay, but I mean, it was.
Yeah, because people just bought it because it was Judas Priest.
Of course. Priest, and it's a double disc. It's a double disc, so every sale counts as 2. Or as far as the numbers. So yeah.
All right, Nick, we got 6 minutes to get through you and me.
Uh-oh.
All right. So we mentioned them briefly before. They do not get a pass. I have never gotten a chance to bitch about them online. In Flames. You mentioned them. The reason I mention them is because I loved that band. Jester Race, Horacle, Clayman, Colony, untouchable, amazing. Root to Remain, I was like starting to see the wheels come off a little bit. Soundtrack to Your Gate. Soundtrack to me leaving the fold. 2004 album, horrible. And I was going back and I listened to Root to Remain. Not one of my favorite albums, but at least it was metal. It had balls, double bass. All of a sudden, they were like, wait a minute, we're not a Swedish institution of melodic death metal. We're Slipknot. And they just all of a sudden just started like, even down to Anders' vocals, like with the talking and then getting all angry. Like, what?
They wanted to become an American metalcore band. That's what
are
they
you
wanted.
Trailer Trash from Indiana, or are you
No, you got it wrong. He's trying to be Jonathan Davis.
It was so obvious.
Good job.
I mean, this is the band that wrote Artifacts of the Black Rain. Are you kidding me? Like, I understand you want to, we want our career to be as big as possible. Dude, you could not have more obviously shit on your legacy. It's like the band came to my house and slapped me in the face, every member. They broke my heart, and that just absolutely that's one of the worst albums ever. I mean, his vocals are
They've done worse since then.
I was going to say.
But that's the first one that actually destroys you. In the history of my, relationship with heavy metal, only Metallica broke my heart more than In Flames. They really destroyed me with that.
Yeah, Nick, that album that came out after the one you're talking about, what's the one with the white album cover, is just awful.
Oh yeah, with the heart, the emo album.
Oh yeah, that's the one. Oh
yes, yeah.
Wretched.
Quickly, I remember driving back from up in Lake George. I was up doing something there. I was in the winter a couple of years ago. And I'm driving back, and I had a U-Haul truck. I didn't have my iPod or anything, so I listened to the radio, and they're like, this big heavy metal show in Albany's coming up. It's like Five Finger Death Punch, Breaking Benjamin, all these like really mellow names. That's what the bottom name was, and In Flames. At the bottom of like 5 bands, I couldn't believe it.
Like, that's what your sellout got you. The bottom.
Yeah. Warming up, asking Alexandria.
Horrible.
Yeah, it's a stinker. That's a good pick. Yeah.
No good. All right, my last choice. My beloved Yes, 1997's "Open Your Eyes." Man, this sucks. This album sucks. Open Your Eyes. How about Open Your Eyes? Why did you put out an album like this? I mean, come on, guys. Open Your Eyes. This is just absolutely terrible. Forget like all the prog rock grandeur of the 70s and, part of the 80s. This is just soft, poppy, not even interesting songs, not even memorable songs. The title track is okay. New State of Mind is all right. The rest of it is just unmemorable, not progressive, just dreary 90s pop. Don't like it. Didn't like it then. Listened to it again this morning, and I realized that this is just not a good album. It's not good. No matter when you listen to it, it's just not good.
Wow.
So another one of my prog rock stinkers here for today. Pink Floyd, yes, and Jethro Tull, yes, they all made bad albums, believe it or not. As did every band we talked about today.
And ELP for me.
Yep.
I got the right Black Sabbath stinker. He got the wrong one. That guy. That should have you arrested right now.
And Forbidden is pretty bad, but I still bought the bootleg mix of alternate mixes from Forbidden because I was a fan and I had to have it, but it's still terrible.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this was a lot of fun, guys. So hope everybody enjoyed this little rant on shitty albums from bands we love. I have talked to these guys about doing something similar again in the near future, just a fun rant on whatever. So if you got any ideas for us, let us know in the comments. Otherwise, we'll be kind of talking amongst ourselves to try and come up with another concept. And, while we can't do it in person right now, we're going to do it here via Zoom. So stay tuned for more craziness from Steve Keeler, Nick Franco, Chris Samael, and Mike. That's right. So visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube all the damn time. So Rock Fantasy in Middletown, New York, rockfantasy.com. Steve, you still taking orders online for stuff?
Oh, yeah. The online store is up and running. And, of course, the store is open at 12 East Main. And Nick was there a few days ago, actually. I saw him with our masks on.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to wear masks on Zoom, at least.
No, we don't.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
It's coming.
It's coming.
And,
Fear.
I'm going to go pop open a cola and listen to Never Say Die right now.
Have fun. Have fun.
Because I'm Stephen Keeler and you, Chris Allo, are wrong.
Good night, everybody. I'm Pete Pardo for Sea Tranquility. For Nick, for
Thanks,
Steve,
Pete.
for
Thanks
Chris.
for having
We'll
us.
see you all later, guys.
Good seeing you guys. We'll see you soon.
Take care.
Rock
Bye-bye.
on.
Bye.